Hello everybody and welcome. I've been playing a lot more Kerbal Space Program 2 lately. Why is that, you may ask? Well, I'm going to the Space Creator Day tomorrow from when this video is going to be released, and I will meet in the Kerbal Space Program 2 the creative director Nate Simpson, who is also going to be there and talking about the new science stuff. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss it when that video goes live. And I'll also have a few more critical questions for Nate rather than just gushing about new stuff that they'll show here. Because as you can see here, the experience in Kerbal Space Program 2 at the moment is not entirely great. And it results in a lot of trial and error, and mostly error. Or mostly rather failure.
Again!
Because it's not really mostly user error, it's not mostly game error, because the game just behaves weird at times. For instance, what you've seen before was the rocket wobbling out of control, or just pieces not really sticking together. Yeah, that has been plaguing the community from quite a long time, well, basically since Kerbal Space Program 2 has been released. But yeah, they're talking about having some fixes for that, and I have a video about all of that, so you can watch that as well. Link is up top or in the description. But what you're seeing here is, well, my attempt at another Joule 5 mission, and this is how it should look like once it's all out of the atmosphere and in space. So basically we have this nifty little space plane here. Well, not that little, but I think it's nice and it works really well. I tested this on Kerbin. It can get to orbit on its own, so it's basically a good SSTO, and this will serve us on Lathe once we get there. We also have a docking port here. I like to put those on my large motherships. So if we need some refueling, we can use that to do so. And yes, we're going to need some refueling here. I'll explain to you in a little while, but first we take a look at the lander. This has a Tidal descent stage added to it, quite a large one, I might add. There are these 8 radial tanks down there, and in the midst of them there's the engine hidden. The tanks are dropped during descent, and then there is the larger rest of the descent stage. And once that is all spent, only the lander portion will be returning from Tidal, which is one of the hardest nuts to crack in the solar system of Kerbal Space Program 2. And what else can I show you? Yes, I have these cargo bays here, which house the gigantic, well, more colossal solar panels, because they're called Colossus, so they're colossal. They're going to serve us fine out there at Joule, the Jupiter analog of Kerbal Space Program 2. And of course, also the smaller craft needs some power, so they also get some solar panels. You see here the spaceplane, and same thing for the lander. So this is everything that is packed inside that humongous rocket you just saw launching and wobbling through the atmosphere. Let's see if we can get this thing into orbit. And yes, now we're back, we're already through the cloud layer, and here begins the more grueling part of the ascent. Just for reference, these shots that are from the ascent of this launcher, they are sped up 5 times. So this is 500% the speed that I was able to endure during this ascent. And it's mostly due to the amount of engines I'm using, because here, when the engines are off, you can notice how much faster everything is going, and as soon as the engines activate, yep, the game grinds to a halt. This is something that was already badly implemented in Kerbal Space Program 1. And I really don't get why they haven't done it in a different way for Kerbal Space Program 2. I mean, if you're supposed to do a better game than the original, I don't just want nicer graphics and some new planets and whatnot. I want the base game to be better, you know? The foundation you build everything on. I don't care about the shiny paint up top. And yeah, we have another one of those rotational moments. Or as Daz from a NASA spaceflight like to say,
did it just do a Kerbal?
Alright, but fortunately I packed enough fuel into this thing, which is hard to believe if you look at all of this. But unfortunately the balls in the center of the rocket, or the vehicle as you might call it, those balls are empty. So these balls will need some filling later on. Or spherical tanks rather, but I still like to call them balls because they look like balls. I mean, soccer balls, of course. What are you thinking about? Anyway, we are now finally at stage separation because after, well, quite a lot of time, I finally managed to get this thing into orbit, and fortunately, the separation went clean. Just that decoupler decided to hang out closer to the mothership. Anyway, as you can see here, the Spherotron ball tanks, they are rather empty to save weight and make the ascent a lot easier. So we're going to hang out here and then later use that handy little docking port I mentioned earlier to get some refueling action going on later. Inject the juice into those balls, why don't you? Alright, solar panels are extending, so this vehicle is going to be safe up here in orbit and not going to lose any electricity, because finally, since I'm 1.4, 141, I don't know which version. Anyway, now electricity is actually drained, which wasn't the case in previous versions of KSP2. Go figure. And yes, we got some more balls going up into space. And I'm going to need 2 or 3 of these refuelings to actually get things going up there. Basically, what we have here is a simple stack with the 2 large hydrogen tanks just there as payload. And we have a smaller hydrogen tank below that, which is going to be used to propel this thing to its target. But it looks like we're going to have enough fuel in that first stage to get us to our rendezvous, which is nice, and which is going to take place here right about now. So that took a bit of time to get the rendezvous really correctly. And here we are, and unfortunately the Delta V counter was wrong, and I had to switch to the much slower hydrogen engine, and yeah, we missed each other's. Those balls almost touched. Again. Anyway, we are back again after some quick save, or quick load rather. And now we're getting closer to our Julinator 5000, which was how I named that thing. I just picked some random name that came to mind. And then this happened. That was not nice. I thought, maybe I did some wrong things with the action group and undocked the spaceplane without wanting to do so. Again. But, as you will see here in a little while, things are a bit more complicated than that. But first we're going to get closer with our 2 balls to our 5 balls, retracting those solar panels so that the docking port is available. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to control from the docking port and rotate the vehicles so that this docking port and the other docking port of the refueler vehicle point to each other, and then docking them should be easier. But again, the space plane, I mean, it reacts to the control input of the entire vehicle. You can see the wings flapping around, but it is still somewhat detached. I mean, you can when you click on the parts in the part manager, you can still select them, you can still do stuff with them, but physically the vehicles are now separate, which is not how it is supposed to be. So that was rather annoying. And then I decided to try, okay, can I really activate these things, or is this just a UI glitch that doesn't show me this as a really separate vessel? And lo and behold, there goes the plane with no pilot or control thing on it. So yeah, this is really badly, and I spent a lot of time for the rest of the week in the bug report forum, where I reported this bug, I reported another bug, I reported several other bugs in here. So yeah, if you're inclined to follow that forum, you can see my entries there. So all of that is documented. And I hope they're going to fix that. And I'm going to have to get ready to go to the Space Creator Day and ask Nate a few questions. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.